All right. Wonderful. You'll just take a moment to ground, to move about, to get a drink of water, whatever you need to do to get yourself back in your body. Though it seems benign, so much happens in the energies, and it's important for you to integrate and to ground that energy. And so take whatever time is needed. And so we do have time for questions. John, who begins?
Let's see.
And can they unmute themselves?
No, not yet. It is. Here we go. Jessica. Wait a minute. There we go. Jessica, did you want to go first, or did you want to?
I would like to not go first, if that's okay.
Next on the list is Henry.
Thank you.
How about you, Henry? Hey, Warren, do you want to go?
Well, how about that? That's not common. Yeah. Henry, are you there?
I'm here, but I
Yeah.
would like a moment to get back, if that's.
There
That's
you go.
fascinating.
Yes.
So,
So
yeah.
tell where do we begin?
Okay, I was hoping to be third, but I will make it happen here. So this was a very powerful meditation. Obviously, the two folks before me are still recovering. Um, so rather than delve into the dreams I've had, I think I'll try to just get to the questions they raised over
Yes.
since last time we met. Um, is it possible that something called cosmic memory, that is the memory of ourselves um, before we chose to be physical in any lifetimes, is really at play now? And is there possibly a joy there that we can uh, acquiesce or absorb or whatever benefit from? And part of that is it's a joy that I may have had prior to the time of my double a couple decades ago, and I'm longing for that sense again. Second question is, speaking of cosmic, so it turns out that there are planets, orbiting objects around the sun that seem to be aligning in ways that we haven't seen since like 1859 and maybe back 6,000 years ago, that are happening now that portend some kind of change. And but also there could be some shifts going on there. Uh, some of the physicists involved in this, and are talking about possibly there's magnetic patterns that we're recognizing now that augment gravity as we know it. But beyond that, there's these objects coming in. Um, I think the Three Eye Atlas is intergalactic object. It might be one, some say one of many to come. But the point is, are they bringing information in to the solar system as well that might augment our cosmic memory? I mean, ironic, cosmic. So anyway, I I and it's interesting, the objects seem to organize themselves into an hyperbolic orbit that like automatically aligns with planets, moons, planetary moons, in a way that Caltech and Jet Propulsion Lab engineers and mathematicians couldn't calculate better. It just does it naturally. So is there some kind of a natural thing going on? So with that, the third question would be, is it important that we have a frequency, certain kind of frequency, to absorb the joy before we get to enjoy it? So that's, you know,
All right.
that's
And so, all right, we'll address the cosmic memory first. Yeah, so before each lifetime, there is, and this is not a linear process because all your lifetimes are simultaneous. And so as you and higher self consider the lifetime that you will be conscious of, there are soul level decisions being made. What do we want to explore? What will help us grow? What will allow us to become more and more and more of who we truly are as beings of light, of beings of love? And so the language doesn't do the experience justice, as you can imagine. For when you then enter the physical plane, did it exist before you entered it? We would say no. That it comes into form as your consciousness chooses to be in form. And so here you are in this lifetime, and you are in many lifetimes simultaneously, and each lifetime has its exploration. Not set in stone, it's an exploration. So you get to choose, what do I want to explore? Who do I want to be? What would be meaningful to me in this lifetime? And where you begin is it seems as though it's an idea, a concept. And along the way, it seems as though you fine tune the ideas or you change them along the way. And it seems as though with the Faces of Soul, there are major changes made. And you are remembering who you are. And that this is an illusion. And that the more real of you doesn't have limits the way you thought, the way you were told. And as you begin to free yourself up from the idea that you are limited, you become more free to be. You become more free to create. You become more free to manifest different worlds. So this cosmic memory isn't memory so much as consciousness. Your consciousness. And it's not in before the physical plane, it's not disconnected from higher self. It's not disconnected from soul and spirit and God and goddess. It is part of all that is. It is an essential energy, resonance, consciousness, without form yet. The form is by choice. What if we could show cause and effect? What if we could experience multiple lifetimes? What if we could show progress in time and space? So these were concepts, these were ideas that came into being that you then chose to explore and experience. And what if you really understood that it is an illusion? What if it's representing energies in formation? So you get these planetary events. They don't occur very often, do they?
Yeah.
An alignment of bodies so much greater, representing archetypal forces. So if you do astrology, you know that certain planets represent certain energies. That if you have your astrological chart, this planet influences that one and this one, that one, and they create these geometric configurations that then let you know whether it's going to be difficult or easy or beneficial or harmful or whatever. And in what arena in your life will they play out these forces? So when you have in a lifetime, a planetary alignment as what is coming soon. What that means is no planet will influence your life in the way that was determined in your chart. That you are free to be what you choose to be. When you let that in, wow, that's happening. Which came first, the alignment or me recognizing that I am creating that which I'm experiencing? And it's not happening on an individual level. It's happening on a planetary level. That everyone on your planet is free to choose what is possible when you let that be so. When you recognize this journey of individuation requires this planetary alignment. It is the beginning of what you came to do. It is the beginning of creating something brand new that has not been in this way ever. Though you can say, oh, but 5,000 years ago or 1,800 years ago or however many years ago, it did happen. And yet human consciousness was never where it currently is. This, the most evolved, this, the most conscious. As you let that be more real. Some of you who experienced the harmonic convergence had an incredible experience. Some of you said, I didn't feel anything. Nothing happened. And yet, out of that, you were looking for change on a planetary level. That did then occur. This is one of those times. So much information, so many possibilities. Looking for solutions outside of you isn't necessary. It's about you being you. The light and the love that you bring matters. And when everyone who is a soul on the planet has that same recognition, allow it to be as expansive as it will be. Allow yourself to know this is for me. This heals a separation that came from choosing a path of individuality. It heals it once and for all. Does that help?
Oh, wow. Yes. I'm so grateful and happy, maybe joyful Thank you, Tara.
Yes. And so your question of, can I gather the joy in advance? Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
amazing. Thank you.
And if you don't, it will still be there when you get there. So it's not a causative thing, and yet you can benefit from it now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we love you so.
Ditto.
All right, Henry or Jessica?
Let's see, Jessica, are you ready or you still want to wait?
I'd still like to wait. Thank you.
I'm still here. It's Monica.
Hey, Monica.
All right, we'll begin with Monica.
Okay.
Oh, oh wow. Thank you, sir. And hi, beautiful Tara. Always with Katrina and John. I wish them youthfulness to continue the mission. I love what you said. I always love what you said. Everything that you said to me is always like, wow, blown away. Tara, I did meditation prior to once, and I know that, and again, being a human body, and my inner child is coming out right now. And I did accept it. I did accept him into my life. That I'm ready. I feel more ready than I was last one or the one prior to. And I hope that I've seen I heard that he has his room full of pictures of I, which is very interesting. One of his friends, I heard him at where I was. So I do welcome him, and he can express himself freely, and I know the universe will accept him, because if he believes in me highly, he will believe in y'all highly. And any input on that, manifesting, creating with my higher self. Of course, my inner child feels, ooh, a guy likes me. I feel cute. Because I'm a girl or a woman. Go ahead.
Yes, wonderful. Yes. So, yeah, and to that point, yes, your inner child is rejoicing. And it's important to allow her to have what she needs in her reality, so that you can be free to show up, to be the spiritual adult that you have always been meant to be, and that you are, the responsive, loving being that you are, that shines your light. To feel that joy, to give that love to yourself matters. And so making sure your little girl, your inner child, is healed, is well, is rejoicing in her reality. And part of her joy will be that you are creating that which your heart desires, with harm to none, with elegance and ease. And as you know that you are loved by God, by Goddess, your higher self loves you. We love you as well. As you really let that in, I am loved. That opens you to flowing that beautiful love into your world, into your reality. And that creates safety in love. It makes it possible to freely express yourself, to express that love, and to know that it will be received as it is intended. Does that help?
Yes, I believe that, as I was seeing him with flowers. I mean, I was not thinking of him, was just thinking what you were saying. And then I saw water, and he was putting flowers in the water.
Beautiful.
So I was able to connect to his higher self as we speak right now. And then my heart is beeping. It's buzzing with it's just buzzing. I mean, because I believe if human believes with purity and no doubt, because I don't doubt the white light. Oh, beautiful things do occur, and with intelligence, because I see things intelligently. And I want to ask you, as the universe, planetary protectors, but planetary. I'm going to change subject. Planetary protection. We do have a person that is creating things that goes up and exploding, going in different parts of the world. They might hit one of the precious parts of the earth, minerals, or a sacred that is part of the Mother Earth that hasn't been touched by humans yet. But just letting the M guy, the one who's doing this robotics, because it can't be evil, it's getting out of hand. We had a explosion that occur in human agencies are trying to see which one it belongs to, which is very wrong. So the ones that are there, they're in the wrong. I asked creator. It can't be. We got a country over there that's always developing to get rid of the planet, and developing this, it's not helping. So planetary protectors are not doing the consciousness and all that. This is the human world. The frequency is Mother Earth has in a similar frequency. In order for it to get to high frequency, it has to wipe out. It was half for many centuries. Atlantis got wiped out, Egyptian era, Lemuria, and I don't want to be part of that in my human body when I'm here in this present moment. So that guy needs to just maybe, not maybe, he needs to get unplugged and go to its dimension, or go to where it goes property of. I mean, I know who it belongs to. Anyway, we have a lot going on this planet right now with a lot of beliefs and all that, but people don't seem to understand it's about safety. Everybody can get along peacefully and safety and believe in the divine source. And of course, there's different religions and different star groups and all that, but the ones that are there, I hope the creator starts to reprimand, because it's creating it's going to hurt the planet. I am concerned about that. And I'm created that it will not happen. I would believe that the man will be exiting out and giving up what he's doing. Because we do have NASA permission by the stars. The first man on the moon, and there was a crew that went up and they had to come back. They didn't want to say. I mean, I know reality of what happened. And we welcome when the divine truth does show up, and that beautiful starship shows up. It would not be because the M guy. It would be because the creator sent. So that is my wish, and just and any input on that.
All right. And so we're going to pull it back into you. All of this out here is a reflection of beliefs, a range of possibilities, all the way from the darkest to the lightest. And absolutely, you are wanting to operate on the higher end. But if your attention is on the lower end, it creates an imbalance within your consciousness. And so what's important is to pull the energy back in, say, okay, I'm very clear on what I don't want. I'm also tempted to tell the universe how to do it. And that's where things get a little muddy, because then you're actually not generating a new reality. You're wanting to control what's so to have it be the way you want it. You don't remember anymore that you created, that on some level, the illusion is a representation of your raw materials, your thoughts, your emotions, your attitudes, your beliefs, your choices and decisions. So as you let it be a little bit more detached and say, okay, I'm remembering this can go badly. I'm having memories of lifetimes where it did go badly. In Atlantis, perhaps. On Orion, perhaps. other Earth lifetimes, perhaps. When technology gets to a certain point and human consciousness gets to a certain point, you have come into this lifetime to do it differently. Whatever it is for you personally, each of you have your own personal version, your personal mandate. This is what I want to change this time. This is who I want to be this time. I want to be loving. I want to be gracious. I want to be unique. I want to be creative. I want to know that I create my own reality with harm to none, with elegance to ease. Whatever it is, each of you are called forth to participate. And we're not saying that you don't speak out or that you don't have outrage or that you don't take action. That is not what we're saying. But we need you to step back and say, I've got my attention on what I don't want. What am I bringing? What's important about it to me? What's my light showing me is important to me? What is my love telling me matters to me? So you've already spoken of the love of Mother Earth, the love of the universe, the love of people, to have dignity, to participate, to have a voice. All of that matters. And then there's these bleed throughs from times when it didn't work. And there are things in your illusion right now that call for a response. To dream it differently, you must first know, on some level, I've contributed to what my attention is on, out of fear, out of a need to control, out of avoiding domination. So as you heal it in yourself, it heals in the world. There's less of it out there in the illusion. As you heal your pain, as you heal your shame, as you heal your need to control, it changes out here. As you step forward with your creativity, as you step forward knowing that you matter, that also reflects out here in the form of others who are willing to take a stand, who are willing to have a voice, who are willing to be visible. So when you don't see it out here, it needs to be brought forth with your desire, with your imagination, with your willingness to create it brand new, to gather new energy as you did tonight. So important to your process. When you feel, I've done what I can, why isn't it shifting? Why isn't it changing? It's just getting worse. It's just getting very terrible. I feel at risk, unsafe, whatever it is. It begins with healing what you brought in with you to work on. I've come in to heal my lifetimes. I've come in to restore empowerment, to lead with love, to be a light. Whatever words come to you, they will be your words, not our words. And when you really get that, this out here doesn't need to reflect those tragedies anymore. Doesn't need to be the dark chaos. The light chaos can come through and reshape reality. That is who you are. That is what you are here to do. It is no small task. And you cannot do it alone. And yet, it begins with you, each of you. It is a map you're making. We don't want to do it that way again. We don't want to end in disconnection and destruction. We want to be connected and co-create something new. And as you recognize, oh, it's so easy to find what's wrong with them, but it just creates resistance and therefore it persists. As you begin to see, oh, they're playing a script so that I can see what I want to change. And the more quickly I recognize that it's for me to change in myself, the more quickly it changes out here. And we understand your world doesn't see that. You can't go and talk to just anybody in these terms. They won't understand. But as you speak with those who are on a similar journey, who are making the maps for the new world, who are here to create things consciously, to manifest a different reality by choice, you can begin to understand the value you bring. You can allow it to be more real, to imagine it to be different. Does that help?
Yes, beautiful Tara. As one quick question. The flowers. Thank you. That was well said. And I was going back in history in my mind. It was I just don't know what happened right there, but it was beautiful what I was seeing. Yes, and I did see the Egyptian smiling. I want to ask you that the flowers and the water. Going back to the first question that he put. Please tell me what that means with the planet Earth representation.
So the gathering of flowers is symbolic of receiving a gift of love from the earth, absolutely. The healing is in the colors, usually, but the water is also emotion, is movement, represents the unconscious mind, the willingness to hold the beauty, to give it life, is symbolic. So those of you who love to have flowers in your reality, some of you, well, I don't want to cut them. And yet they are willing to have you enjoy them in whatever space you are in. And that need to nurture with a bowl or a glass or a vase of water is your gift, is a flow of your love, of your nurturing, of your attention. The two work together to stay connected. And you'll notice when you gift your love, they last longer. The beauty lasts. All right. We love you.
It's beautiful.
All right. And who is next?
All right. Jessica, where are you?
Yes,
Ready?
I would like to go. Thank you.
All right. Yes, dear one. Where do we begin?
So I love that you started out, or you were talking about potentials and choices. And I feel really strong with in my life that I've gotten to a point where I hold an open space for potentials even that I'm not aware of ahead of time, and that feels really strong for me. And leaning into trust. And that always feels to me like that's where I leave a space for magic to happen. I find myself feeling frustrated and irritated when I hang out with people who can't talk in those terms or be in those places. And I don't want to feel frustrated. I want to care and love them for who they are, where they are. At the same time, I've been questioning so much if these are whispers about maybe it's time for me to let go of those friends, leave open space for other friends. I feel that it's so important how we language things and talk about things, and it's something I pay attention to for myself. That it's not just about me manipulating to try to say it a certain way, but it comes from my thoughts and feelings. And for instance, that I can lean into trusting that I will be taken care of. But if I'm talking about focusing on the fears, and then that keeps the magic away. But I'd like some help mostly about this feeling I have about feeling frustrated about being with other people because I'm traveling. So I'm not living in one place where I have my own community that I can surround myself with. So I'm open for new people, and I don't always find those people that I feel like we're speaking the same language. So what can add more to it, but maybe you can speak on that first.
All right. And so certainly so. There are a couple of different things happening here. Partly it's boundaries where you're open and yet you're still evaluating, what am I receiving? Is it what I want? Is it what I don't want? And so though you start out completely open and trusting, then you experience the day, and within that day, you're then evaluating, how am I doing? Am I still open? Am I still trusting? But this isn't what I want. How can I be open? How can I be trusting? This isn't what I want. So you see, there's actually within yourself attention that is that is the expressed then as the frustration. So in those moments, it's not so much about the other person, though there is a need to set boundaries with other people sometimes. Because if what you're wanting is more connection, but then they're not really the people you want to connect with, or you're open and you're in solitude, or you're in grace, and then this energy comes in that disrupts that. That's a boundary issue. Does that make sense so far?
Absolutely. Yes.
And then within yourself, there's your connection with your higher self and your unseen realm, where you're saying, why aren't you bringing me what I want?
Yes.
And we'll just remind you what we spoke with Monica about is whatever is showing up is for you to say, this is what I want more of, this is what I don't want. So whatever's showing up is a product, you might say, of the resources, the raw materials rather. So if something's showing up where, wait a minute, I thought I was open and trusting, but what I'm getting is frustration and irritation, we'll say. And
Yeah.
that is, we would say, is not so much about who you're being as an opportunity to look at, what do I believe about my value in this equation? trying to be open, but it's hard to know that I matter as much as they do because they're encroaching on me. So how do I be nice and say, get out of my space? And so as you look to your beliefs, is how common is it in your past, your early days, your early life, for you to have to give in to others in your environment?
Mm.
Or the little girl in you or the adolescent in you to say, well, what I want isn't as important.
Mm.
Or it's not safe for me to be that open. So as you look to, and we know that you have done the work, so this isn't as though you need to do some deep, long process here. This is simply about changing the belief that was created at a time when a lack of boundaries was the issue. Because you didn't have permission to have them. Because there were people who were stronger, bigger, louder, or perhaps they weren't so much bigger and stronger, but they had more need than you. So if it was a sibling, perhaps, or a friend, or someone else who was in a similar boat as you, but they needed more than you did. Or you needed more, but couldn't express it. So this is coming up, this frustration is coming up just to make you aware, you know what? Whatever happened when I was a little girl wasn't right, and I know that. I just need to get her out of that scene where she thought she needed to give in to them. Because I'm creating an environment that I don't want anymore. It doesn't serve me anymore. I want to create connections and fluid, trusting, beautiful experiences with people. I deserve to focus my time and my attention on manifesting more of what I want. And so this is one of those, we've spoken about it before. When you've outgrown your current raw materials, you have two choices. Well, you have three: to just stay as you are and be in a place of frustration, to move forward into the new energies, to gather new energies and step forward. That's the more optimal one. Or to be resigned. I guess this is the way it's going to be because it's always been that way. And that's where you shrink yourself down. So you're not at that place, are you? You can already tell you're not. You're at that boundary of your belief basket where the raw materials that you've had, you've now outgrown them. And you need new thought. You need new feeling. You need new attitudes and beliefs so that you can explore new choices and decisions. And so the meditation that you did this evening has already granted you that energy. And now you're understanding the frustration. Oh, before I gathered the new energy, look how frustrated I've become. It doesn't suit me anymore. I want to focus my time on being me. I want to be more free to express who I am. And I'm noticing that some people aren't a resonant match for that me. And there was a time in the past where I would have subjugated myself. Well, I guess what I have to say isn't as important.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm subjugating myself, but
How that you are.
but there's something else that's going on with me right now that maybe is connected. So I, and I think it maybe all connects to me going into doubt and fear and confusion about decisions I make. And I don't know, a month or two ago, I kind of had a vision about going to a particular town here in Mexico to go to some ruins. And I was very happy where I was near Puerto Vallarta. So Saturday, I flew to this new town and I arrived, and it's so cold. It's way colder than I realized. And I was recommended to stay at someone's place, and I here and just everything felt off. Now,
Nope. Did you just get muted?
No. Hey, Jessica, we can't hear you.
Is it on your end?
No, I don't believe. No, she got disconnected. Let's give her a moment, see if she comes back. Ooh, you want to?
Yes, we'll go on to Henry, we believe is next.
Yeah.
And Henry, if she pops back in, then we'll take a break and talk with her, if that's all right with you.
Hello.
Yes, hearing.
Thank you for being.
It's
Thank
a
you
very
for being.
fluid evening.
Hmm? I'm
It's a
sorry.
fluid evening. Lots of change, lots of unscheduled conversations.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
going with the flow.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So tell us, where do we begin?
Well, I'm in a terrible sort of wanting to give up sort of place, and be, I was having trouble with my phone. I managed to create an incredibly parental person to to do what I wanted, and everything I said, well, I want to do this and this, and but there's things wrong. I'm not quite sure, and they said, well, what do you want? We can do the data for you. That's all. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said, well, it's the data, and he was just in a so parental, and I didn't even catch it. I just kind of went totally into child, and and then we spent ages because we had to get in touch with the supplier, and they were taking ages. So then he said, well, why don't we go to a different supplier, and that'll be much easier. And so yeah, so then we had to go to this old supplier again, and they refused to move me and all that sort of thing. So the whole thing was going terribly wrong. And so then I went away and said I'll come back, and I haven't been back yet. And with the bed bugs, I haven't done anything, and I can't find any at the moment. But I'm sure they must be here. And you know, the people at the senior centre are offering to saying, you know, get in touch with us to see what we can do, and I'm not doing that. And a big thing, and there's a big thing I noticed this week. Oh, I had one good. Oh, I had several good things happen actually. I had the most amazing experience with an artist at an art opening. With her art, just completely kind of changed my life, and I had a wonderful conversation with her, and I went to a book club. Oh, here you are. Yes.
Henry, Jessica is back online, so
Yes,
hold that thought.
I will.
Beautiful. All right, and so we'll resume with Jessica.
because I think I got a very big answer by losing connection.
Oh,
The answer I got was that my higher self was kind of playfully showing me how I was doing the same thing I get frustrated about. I was going into focusing on what's wrong instead of what's right. And that was kind of where I was going, is that I came to a new place. It just all felt off, and it threw me in this place of doubting that I had made the wrong decision, when I keep telling myself, if you go someplace and it's the wrong place, you can always go someplace else. And yet I've just been really uncomfortable, and I'm not happy with that uncomfortable feeling.
Yes.
And I guess some of my question is the answer to kind of lean into learning how to be more comfortable with being in the off time and trusting that it'll get back on, and
Well,
that's part
that,
of it.
but we also want you to first take a moment, because you said you just flew to the new place.
Saturday evening, yes.
Yes, yes. So just take a moment and just ask your higher self to lift any energies that aren't yours, that came from being
Mhm.
the airports and on the flight and then landing in the new state, and recall back to you all of your energy, because the you that is in the place you were before Puerto Vallarta, where we're not saying
Yes.
it correctly. You can say it better than we can. Recall your energy. The you that is so at peace and happy and joyous there. Bring that you to you in the now, knowing that the you that loves that place will always have that time. So you bring all that joy into you now,
Mm.
so that you're looking through the eyes of joy. And absolutely, there are some of you where your senses, your response to warmth or cold or environment are part of who you are, the way that you take information in. And so, as you say, that it was a shock. It was colder than I expected. It's not comfortable. I feel unprepared. I feel at risk, or I feel whatever has been triggered by that cold. Other lifetimes, even current lifetime, where you were at a disadvantage, unprepared is the word that's coming to mind. And so
Mm.
then to ask your higher self, provide what I need. I'm giving the universe permission to provide what I need to feel at ease, to feel comfortable. And then I'm going to do the work of feeling that joy. I'm going to bring my joy here. And that resonance is going to shift it. That's my part. My higher self's going to do the rest. My higher self's going to make the connections, is going to provide the environment.
So what you're saying is that, I hear all that, thank you, and I want to be really clear about this. It is my negative thinking mind that's telling me that there's something wrong. Is that correct?
No, your feedback from your environment is that you're out of balance. The feedback is something threw you off kilter.
Mm-hmm.
So then the question becomes, I'm off kilter. I want to get back to being centered, whole and complete, connected, embracing my environment. And so what there is to do is to ask my higher self to help me get there. And I'll do what I know to do, which is to, in advance, segment intend how I want to feel. And I already have a touchstone from where I was in the last place.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're having that memory, that longing is your higher self telling you, feel those feelings. You just had them. So for you, it was occurring as a separation from longing for what you just left. But as you remind yourself, oh no, that those feelings are inside of me. I can generate a resonance using those feelings. I know how to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes,
And
because
I
it's
don't know
something,
it's going to appear here in this new environment. I just know how I
right?
feel. And when I do
Yes,
that, then things recalibrate. And then you will be able to make better, more optimal choices on, is this the right place to be for now? Is there another opportunity opening up? As you allow your joy to dictate the next activity, rather than as you were the frustration or the disconnection or the feeling like I'm out of place, I shouldn't be here, I made a bad decision. That part is the old pattern of surviving what you don't want. Absolutely. But you are already conscious of that. I don't want to do it that way. And I don't.
yes, I feel like one of the ways I've learned to respect myself so much is that I want my own home. I want to have one place I'm grounded in, and I kind of let go of that for now because it's not here. And there's quite a beauty that I've learned to respect myself for, that I can be happy everywhere I go. And it's been a beautiful realization for me to own about myself, that that's what all this represents more than anything. And so I feel like I doubted that when I came here, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm unhappy, I'm cold. It just is, everything's not right. Um, so I doubted myself.
Yeah, because that's the pattern.
Yes.
That's the reaction. That's the familiar response. But when you let that doubt go away and say, I can be cold, I can be uncomfortable, and I don't have to make it about me that there's something wrong with me. I can
Right.
instead choose what I want next. How do I want to feel next? I can segment intent. I can say,
Okay.
hey, in this moment, I'm cold and uncomfortable. But as I fill myself with the joy, I know how to feel joy. And I know it will change my reality. Who I'm being changes the discomfort. And so then, as you allow your higher self, okay, higher self, look, I trust you to bring new experiences. I got the
You
idea
know,
to come here. There's something here. I don't know what it is yet. And I'm uncomfortable in the not knowing. But I do trust the information that I got. I trust that I need to be here,
mm,
that information is true. But I also want the miracle. I want the magic. I want the fun. I want the love. I want the light.
mm,
I don't want what my fear tells me is that it was a mistake. Because when I go down that road, then I begin to disconnect. Then I begin
mm,
to doubt everything. Then I begin to wonder, is my connection good enough?
mm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And what I also have realized is that my easiest favorite default is to feel lonely. And, living the life I live, I've come to a new town. I don't know anyone here. So, that would be the easiest thing to pick up. And I take, I was going to say great pride. I feel like that's not the right word to say, but I like it about myself that I have the courage to over and over and over again go someplace where I don't know anyone. And it takes a lot of courage, and how to honor that about myself. But then I feel like it's like a leaf. As soon as I was really cold and uncomfortable, I fall into almost even feeling sorry for myself that I'm lonely and alone. So I think I've gotten quite a few answers that I'm going to work with, unless you have something else. Thank you.
So the only other last thing is on that topic of, so that's the old pattern, but what you want instead, what would be meaningful would be the future, and we're talking the near future, of you connecting with souls that where you connect at the soul level. And
Yes.
that's what you treasure. That's what's
Yeah.
important. And so as you remind your higher self, hey, I'm ready, I'm willing, connect me with the souls that I'm here to meet. That's my purpose, to explore those connections. And that's why it is safe for you to move from place to place, because there are always those connections that are that emerge out of being present, of showing up, having that courage to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And so see yourself as a beacon.
Mm.
And that beacon of light will then draw them to you in a positive way.
Yes.
Beautiful. We love you so. You're right on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. So, Henry, please resume.
Yeah, so that was a help. Thank you.
Yeah.
The whole segment intending thing is I either just forget it or I just think, well, that's just not going to work. But then when I do manage to do it, I mean, when I went to the art opening, it was going to take quite a while on the bus to get there, and there were all sorts of things in the way. I was on the bus and thinking, and there was a crash, and so it was delayed, and then there were lots of people, and there were all sorts of things happening, and I kept on thinking, oh, I should just get off and go home, and all that. And I thought, no, I'm going to stay here, and this is wrong, this is wrong. But when I got there, it was such a wonderful experience, and I thought, well, am I going to be able to talk to the artist? And then it does occur, well, you create your own reality, and I just seem to kind of fight it somehow. And anyway, I did get to talk to
Well,
her.
as you're speaking, doesn't it become clear that in certain resonances it's just easier? So as you certainly so generate resonances within yourself, as we proposed to Jessica, she knows how to do that. She was just someplace where she has her higher self's giving her that memory. Think of how you felt at your last destination and generate that now within yourself in the memory. Start with the memory of how it felt. So you start with the memory of how the gallery, how the artwork inspired you. Start with that
Yeah,
as a memory. Oh, I'm just reminiscing. Oh, it was so wonderful. And you begin to change your current resonance so that you then have new thoughts about what you can do next. You have ideas that emerge of how to solve the problem. So for instance, as you were struggling with the phone problem, and someone who was very willing to help, the two of you identified problems, but for whatever reason, couldn't solve the problem. And we would suggest that when you're in that sort of mode where nothing's working and we're getting no's right and left, it's just not. And by setting a sort of a time limit.
yeah,
So for instance, 30 minutes, an hour, maybe 2 hours is reasonable when dealing with technology. Who knows? Whatever your limit is, whatever the other person's limit is. Well, let's go about this for an hour. If we don't solve it by then, we just have to take a break and do something fun and then come back to it. Because it's the resonance does dictate the success of whether the magic happens or not. So when you get information you don't want, it's okay. You can be upset, you can be angry, you can be frustrated, whatever. But as you are in those emotions, recognize, well, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted elegance. I wanted ease. I wanted magic. I wanted miracles. I wanted something to show up out of thin air.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
And so there's a brief upset about that. I didn't create what I wanted. But then to let it just set it aside, say, okay, that's not what I wanted. Let's go do something different, change my resonance, just put it aside for a little bit. Open up to higher resonance. Go have some fun. Go swimming. Go do a meditation, whatever. Go eat something. Sometimes grounding is required.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then decide, do I feel like doing it now? And if you get a no, then you trust that. You say, no, this isn't the right time. I'm not in the right resonance, or I'm in such a good resonance, I don't want to go pick up that problem again right now. And you leave it to, do I need to solve that problem for me to have what I want? See, that's a different question than how am I going to fix that? Do I need to have this resolve for me to be who I want to be? Well, if the phone worked, what would you have? What would it allow? Think of all the possibilities. If there are none that you can think of, then there's no point in spending any time on it. But if it is going to allow you to be more free to communicate, it's going to allow me to get things done. It's going to help me feel more secure about my communications, for instance. I'll have more access. I can do my emails. I can text. I can go on social media, whatever the magic of the phone is for you.
Yeah.
As you get inspired by what will be so when it's working. The you that has it, that is living life more elegantly, more easily, because the phone works the way it's intended. That's the future you want to be helping you create the solution you see.
Yes, and I go into these things just thinking, well, it's just not going to work. I'm going to have I don't see how it's going to work because I'm just going to have trouble with it, and just kind of forgetting the magic,
And when you forget the magic, what happens?
well, everything just it's horrible.
Can be.
I mean,
Can be struggle. Sometimes
yes, no,
and the magic happens anyway, in spite of you.
well, yes, as with the art thing, and uh,
So as what we're hearing is, if I don't do it right, it doesn't work.
yes, and I'm not going to do it right.
And so how about including some others in your day, your higher self, your soul, your optimal future self, who have the capacity to change the nature of your day.
Yes, well, I do call them in, and then I forget.
And so when things start getting frustrating and you take that break and say, did I actually ask them to help me today? Am I really allowing
Yes,
someone more to assist me? We understand it's not a slam dunk. It's not something that you are calibrated for automatically. These are the maps that you are all making.
yes,
You are creating the new behaviors. You are creating a map for humanity to create more elegance and ease in their life, starting with you. So, yes, it feels like you're pushing against, going against the flow because you are. It isn't natural. The average person just has to keep working at it and trudging along until it gets done.
yeah,
And what you're finding is you're trudging along and you're finding, and your thoughts are saying, I don't want to do it this way. It's got to be another way. There must be something more elegant than the way that I'm approaching this. And we would suggest, yes, that your part of you is doing what the consensus expects you to do. And another
Yeah.
part of you is saying, hey, do we really need to do it this way? Is this the only way? Consider if we could do it differently. And as you give that voice more presence, that's when you remember the magic. Oh, well, I did a little bit of magic with the art show. Maybe I can do a little magic here too. So you see, it is, we don't want to say a struggle, but what's popping up is the old pattern of this is how I am used to living life. This is what I would have done in the past. And then here's this new me who's making a new map saying, let's interfere in that by having new thoughts,
Yeah.
by having different emotions. Instead of being complacent and resigned, we're going to be angry. We're going to be activists around this. We're going to say, no, this isn't right. I can do it differently. And as you allow that voice to be heard, you will create more magic. You will do it differently. You will get the results that you're looking for. Because that's a resonance of you mattering. Your voice matters. Easy for you to be in that resonance when you're acting and directing and being a part of the community that you're a part of, the artist community. But when you're dealing with the mundane, like getting your phone fixed, that's a different identity. And the old Henry shows up, the Henry you're familiar with, who just has to get it done and does your duty and isn't allowed to have any fun with it.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
Oh, totally. Yeah. The yes, I saw this big thing that, and it's got much more intense than it has been over the more recent years. But I guess that's because it's a point of change. But it's always about not creating things that I want, or even asking for things that I want, but just being in a situation where people think, oh, that's what he wants, or that's what he needs. And so, I have a lot of places where I go and get free food or cheap food and cheap lunches and things, although I can only go and pick them up at the moment because they're bed bugs. But and I'm just looking at that and I'm going, well, I don't hardly use any of the food. It just goes off, and then I have to throw it out. And yet I've got this thing. I've got to be in this kind of, place of wanting, in order to get something. And I'm thinking, well, why don't I just program and things like that? And I don't. And it's so frustrating.
And so it really comes down to identity and image, doesn't it? When
Yes,
you
it is also
what's
fun.
familiar for you to be, and what would be required for you to expand your image to be more of that magical being that you are, that is more true to who you are, to really know that this is an illusion and that yes, there are your body has needs. Your physical body requires you to be present, to be grounded, to nurture that body, to feed the body, to give it resources so that it can convert those resources into energy. Sound familiar? As you look at your raw materials as resources, your thoughts, your emotions, your attitudes, your beliefs, your choices, and your decisions are your raw materials.
Yeah.
And they together combined create a resonance. And you don't have one thought that you're dealing with, you have thousands. You don't have one emotion, you have many emotions. You don't have one attitude, you have several. You don't have one belief, you have many. You don't have one choice. Though you are wanting to be more conscious of the direction you choose, choice is a direction. It's the decisions that follow that are where you get caught up. Did I make the right decision? I know what overall direction I'm going in, but is this decision that I made today in line with that direction? So the magical, productive, miraculous Henry has a future that is full of light and love and happiness and joy and compassion and passion and creativity. And when you make a decision to do this or that, is it in alignment with that you, or is it a different future you? Is it the fearful you or the downtrodden you? So you see, there were the lesser self has futures that don't serve you,
Yeah.
that where life is more predictable, and you have, as you say, I don't know why I am not motivated. I just want to give up. But it's because if the lesser self is choosing the future, there is no motivation.
Yeah. Yes,
It's
exactly.
not based on, it's
Well, I'm
your
losing.
higher self's way of telling you the direction you've defaulted into isn't the luminous one, isn't you the more, isn't the more conscious you.
Yeah.
And so then the motivation disappears. I don't want to go forward. I don't want to wake up today. I don't want to do anything. But what if we were to tell you, you're going to remember how to love and how to live life, and you're going to be amazed at the miracles you create. And then you begin to remember, hey, I'm doing that already. On my Saturday nights, on my afternoon walks, whatever activities you do where you really give yourself some freedom to explore reality, and where you get to put yourself in a situation where I don't know what's going to come next. I think that's kind of fun. Because when I'm always just doing my routine,
Hmm.
I get bored.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
And I don't get to become the more of me
Yeah. Well, I
unless
don't go.
in communication, in
Yeah.
communion with
Yeah.
others, whether it's unseen or in the illusion.
Yeah.
So as you start to recognize, wow, what if I just focused on those opportunities that do bring me more life, where I come alive, where I get to share more. And at the end of it, I just know I made a difference with this person or this group.
Yeah.
You start recognizing, wow, my part is being willing to show up. The rest of it is really up to my higher self and my soul and my spirit to provide the context.
Yeah.
And so
And
to really have that thought, I'm willing to show up, and use that as a pivoting tool for yourself.
yes, and the two things that have been that I've been wrestling with are that my father never wanted me to play or do anything creative
Yes.
because he wanted to see me a real man, and at the same time didn't want me to be a competition. So it was a bit complicated, but And so whenever I'm thinking, like after the book club, for example, in the first place, I was thinking, should I go? And then, yes, of course. I mean, I go and chat to the bookstore people every night anyway. But the book club, and then they were going to go to the bar, and I was, well, I don't go to the bar, I can't afford that. And I was like, oh, let's go to the bar. And then I had a wonderful time, noisy time there. And it was the same. I went into quite not expecting, we went into Mystic Journey crystal store, which is closing down, and in the back room were two people who channel a song for you. And so the music will change your resonance and all those sort of things. And so I was talking to them about all that and lots of different principles and where it all comes from and all those sort of things. And then I was saying, okay, then I left. And then I thought, why don't I have a session, for heaven's sake? And I was saying, oh, I can't afford it. It's only $49. Yeah, but, and so I thought, well, I'll go back and do it. And I went back and did it, and it was great. And I haven't had the recording back yet, and I'm waiting for that. But there's so much of that. And, on my mind at the moment is still, because I'm feel so out of money, but then it's about letting it come, isn't it? I never went to the final Lazarus workshop in Vancouver, and it's just the second one has just become available, and I could, pay 400, $350 and do it. And I'm thinking, I can't afford that. And I'm thinking, but that's the end of the course. That's the end of everything I was doing for 35 years, and I didn't do it. And I'm thinking of saving money on that. And so I'm trying to persuade myself to just do it. And I think, but then I'm going to run out of money. But then I think, but then there's magic. But anyway, it's good to be able to express that frustration. Thank you.
Yes, and really lean into, and then there's magic.
Yes, exactly.
And principles of love.
Yeah.
Because as you understand, a miracle is more than you expect. Really let in, oh, when I create miracles, when I allow miracles into my life,
Yeah.
there's something more at work. They remind me that I have a place in a universe that is more complex, more beautiful, more magical than even I can imagine. And that brings hope, and the light of hope opens you up. You're right on track. Beautiful. We love you, sir. All right, and we believe there's one more.
Yes, Melissa.
Is it okay? I just wanted to make sure it was okay for time.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Tara. It's nice to talk to you.
Where do we be?
Yeah, so when Warren was sharing, or when you were answering his question, you made a comment about astrology and the planets. It's actually what I wanted to talk about today. So I have never really gotten into astrology, and I just started getting into it. And I was going to get my natal chart done and do this astrocartography reading where it tells you best places to live. But what I've been struggling with is, well, if we create our own reality, does that really matter? Because I don't want to give my power away to the planets, yet I want to work with them. So I'm just trying to understand how that all works. And if it's not going to matter anyway soon, then why do it? Does that make sense?
Yes, and we just want to remind you, who creates the person who draws the chart for you?
I do.
Yes. And so who drew the chart?
I did.
And why would you draw a chart that has no meaning?
Huh.
Why wouldn't you create a chart that guides you to your next step?
Okay, so it does help you with
if you know that you create your own reality and you allow the form of it to be you writing a script saying this person who has their skill, we're not diminishing that there are people who have beautiful skills that they share with their world. Just as Henry shares his passion and his art, his communication art within his acting and all of that, that is Henry. But you create Henry in that role to remind you of certain resonances and so this astrologer who comes into your reality, you create your own reality. Why wouldn't you allow a bit of magic and allow a bit of your higher self to communicate to you through that form? Just as if you were to do a tarot reading, you would create the person reading the cards to read the energies that your higher self wants you to pay attention to, you see. So as you take back your power from the illusion and say, you know what, I want a little bit of mystery, I want a bit of magic, and I am willing to have the universe speak to me through this form. And when I hear the information, I choose as I listen to the places they describe. I tune in. What resonates with me? What
Okay.
feels right to me? Does that make sense?
It does, because I know people who are in the past who were big into astrology and they would use that as an excuse. So I guess that's what scared me. Like, well, don't I have a say to change it?
You could say you could use it that way. However, let's also look at what is a natal chart. A natal chart is what you came in intending. These are the energies I'm going to work with. This is the sort of, in these arenas, these are the forces that are at work. This is where I'm going to have a little bit of conflict to resolve, where my lessons might be. And then these are other areas are where I thrive. That's what I came in intending. But as a map maker magician, you also know that I'm a conscious reality creator. So along the way, I get to choose. I get to say, this is what I came in with, and it guides me to some degree, but it's still up to me to choose what arena am I going to develop more fully and what speaks to my soul.
That's why I wanted to do it, exactly for that reason. I feel like I'm soul searching right now.
Yes, and so some people, so they begin with the natal chart, but then they also do charts for very specific projects or where they're at or where they want to live, because the current configuration of the planets and the stars and your point of focus on the earth that you're in also is represented energetically in these charts. So it's a different chart than the natal one.
That's the astrocartography one. That was the other. Is that?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And as you, before you begin, turn it over to your higher self and say, higher self, I'm looking for some answers. Give me some choices to consider through this means, knowing that I will have to choose, knowing I am responsible for what I create next. But I want a little bit of fun. I want a little bit of mystery. I want a little bit of interaction with my higher self that I wouldn't have by just going forward without some additional input from the universe. Makes sense.
Yeah, you just helped me with it. I think that's what it is I was scared to do it because I still want the mystery, right? I like not having it all figured out. It makes life interesting.
Yes. And so you don't have to go get the chart done. You would want to choose based on, would it be fun? Would it help me enjoy myself and my time here? Does that make sense?
I like that perspective. Yes.
At the end, you might still say, well, I thought it would be fascinating, but I have other ways I want to get that information. Or, well, I've always wanted to know, kind of want to know what I came in with. Want to have a little bit more discussion around what are the energies. And those astrologers who are trained in it, they're also communicators of resonances. And so it's fascinating to observe someone expressing their art.
Yeah.
So as you let that be part of the fun as well.
Yeah, no, I took a course on astrocartography and I was like, I'd rather pay her to do this. This is definitely complex. She deserves to charge what she charges.
Yeah.
It is, I could not do it. I am so glad I got called to join tonight. I have been overworking myself and not having as much fun. So your
So
share, Hannah, reminded me of that.
yes, focus on the fun for a little bit.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we love you so.
Love you too. Thank you, Warren, for having me share. I appreciate it. You took a
All
stand.
right. Yes, and what an intriguing flow of energy tonight. So different than the usual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It had to wind around. The energy was such that it was not linear. For each of you are changing and growing so quickly. And as you go into your night this evening, give your higher self permission to complete the integration and to allow you to see through new eyes, as you already are, as is evidenced by the questions tonight. Beautiful. All right, and so we go for now. We go with love and peace until next time, as we bring Katrina back. We go with love and peace.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Tara. Beautiful.
Who could have
Thank you,
possibly